Hello, everybody. My name is Florem Serametti, and welcome to Goalball Live. We are sitting here in the main court in the IBSA Goalball World Championships 2022 in Portugal. Together with me, I have Aurora Zanolin, who is the IBSA chairman, and you have been in goalball for quite some time. So just tell us a little bit about yourself and your journey into the goalball world.
Well, yes, I started around 30 years ago. It was to 1922, my first contact with goalball. And I started to help the local association with papers and documents in the office. And when the president of this local association asked me to go on court and watch a game, they had, at the time it was a goalball event, and it was so amazing for me that I never left. So I became a coach for goalball and torball team of the local association. It was an association in Venice, and after that, after a couple of years, yes, around 2 years, I became a national referee. And then from that time, I started to grow and yes, to become international referee, level 1, and then 2, 3, course conductor, and so on.
Well, goalball is a very addictive sport because once I was started to go to goalball, I never left either. But you have made a very long journey. From the first time you just looked at the competition, and now 31 years later you're the IBSA chairman. And in doing that as a woman, do you think that it has become, was it a difficult journey, and do you think it was difficult for you to become the chairman as a woman?
Well, I can say that for me, it's a long way. And it takes step by step, but I never felt it was hard for me, because it was so nice for me to be on goalball courts in every role I could have, as goal judge, as table official, referee, or whatever was the needed, just to be there, watch the game, enjoying, helping. So it was easy for me.
Yeah, and I've been actually with you before you were the chairman. We were both in IBSA Goalball. I was there as a coach representative, and you were there as the referees representative. And I know the hard work you put into goalball and the love and the passion you have for the goalball, and for that we have to thank you. But you all have also been in goalball for so many years that you have the goalball we have today is very different from the goalball that started, and the development, the journey we have had with goalball. This blue ball we have here besides us, the goalball didn't always look like this. So can you take us a little bit throughout this journey, where goalball was when you started and where goalball is today?
Yes, goalball has changed a lot from the time I started. It changed as improving the techniques, making also the player more professional, more, I can say, attentive to everything. When I started, most of the player, okay, I can say I started in national competition, and it was not so professional, not like a play between friends. But then it became, time by time, more and more professional. Also, the rules changed a lot, and they will change again, and I hope they will change in the way the player need. The rule will change.
Yeah, and one of the biggest changes that we've had is, of course, the ball. I mentioned that we have a blue ball now. The first ball was a big brown ball that weighed 2 kilograms, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes. It was 2 kilos.
Yeah,
The brown.
Yeah, exactly. It was a little bit bigger than this one and weighed 2 kilograms, and now they have a little smaller ball, a little lighter ball, and you can really see that in the speed, especially now during these 10 days of competitions that we are having here in during the IBSA Championships in Portugal. Um, and if you try to look into the future of goalball, how do you think goalball will look like in about, say, 10 years, or in after Paris 2024? How do you think goalball will look like then?
Oh, saying that, goalball has changed a lot, and the ball also. And the way it's played now is more fast, more attractive also. This is my hope, that will be even more attractive for and exciting for all the spectators. I also, just to enter in point of view of spectators, I also was at a theater representation of goalball, professional theater representation, made by a guy from Italy, and he collected a few players from all around the world. One was from here, from Portugal, a couple from Italy, one from Belgium, one from Slovenia, and one from Germany, women. So, and he made the representation of goalball on the theater with a real goalball court, real goalball goals, and the ball. I had to instruct 2 of the actors to be referees, and so they were refereeing this game, and the show make that the spectator could feel what the player are feeling on court. At a certain time, there was, for example, in the theater, completely dark. The theater completely dark, and the player playing, the referee refereeing, and the spectator, what's happening? How do they play? How can they play in this way? So it's very exciting for the spectator. And what is my hope is that it will become the same on court, on the normal court.
We are talking a lot about the spectators and what it brings to the sport, and both you and me have been to a couple of Paralympics, and the audience you have in the Paralympics is nowhere near the audience that we have, for example, here during Portugal. We have a fantastic venue, a great organization, but the arena is empty. And that is one of the biggest struggles that we have in goalball. How are you, as the chairman for IBSA Goalball, going to work to get goalball even bigger, so that we can fill arenas, and perhaps in the World Championships in 10 years or 8 years, we will have a full arena instead?
Yes, this is one of the hope that we have. In Paralympics, we have a lot of people, I can say. I can remember just some number from Rio. Every game we had around 8,000, 9,000 spectators in this arena. I think it's the promotion they make for Paralympic Games that is different. Paralympic Games is a competition that is for many sports. And so the spectators are going from one venue to the other to watch many sports, and so they also come to goalball, and I can say they enjoy the time they have, because you can see how they react during the play. In this competition, it's not so easy to fill all the seats that there are here. For example, one of the things that we can try to do, we and the organizer, because this is mostly up to organizer, to make more promotion in the schools, for example, to attract young people, and with the young people, they count parents, for example, and so you can fill all these seats.
Do you think it could be an idea that it could be almost like a demand from IBSA Goalball to the nations that organize, for example, the World Championships, that the promotion is one of the criterias to have a World Championships? Because walking around here in Porto, I have not seen any signs that there is a World Championships Goalball here in Matosinhos arena. So do you think that it could be a good idea to have that as a base criteria to help develop the sport?
Yes, this is a very good idea. I haven't had the time to go around here, but I believe that you could not find this kind of information. And yes, if there is some sign, some sport, something that shows that there is some kind of competition, it can be a start at least. As I think I saw somewhere, can't remember exactly if it was in Japan during a competition, a national competition, that there was different sign around the city where it was held. So this is a good start, yes.
Yeah, we maybe I'll be a little bit partial, but when we had championships 2018 in Sweden, we had in Malmö, in my city, we had the signs everywhere, but still we did not get the amount of spectators that we wished. We got a couple of hundreds, but we would have a couple of thousands. So I think that perhaps to do something even more from the IBSA, to maybe have a specific person that works with only promoting the sport before the big games and before the big championships. We have Europeans, Asians, Para-American, African championships and stuff. Do you think that would be a good idea to have a person like that in IBSA who only works with that?
Well, every idea is good. As you know, in the past, not so far, we didn't have any live streaming. And now in our competition, we have live streaming. At least all around the world, they can watch the game, even they are so far. So everything is welcome to promote our sport and make that it become more attractive for spectators.
But do you think IBSA Goalball can work for creating that role in the IBSA Goalball? Just like you have a coach representative, that you have someone that actively work with promotion.
Well, we can work on it, but it's always something that you put up to the organizers. And the organizers are full of things. That is not easy, to charge additional things. We can start, and I think that in the future, I don't see it so close future, but in the future, it will be much better.
Yeah, and one of the countries that has applied for World Championships is Portugal, where we are now, but Portugal is a B nation. It's not in the European A's, and that's quite unusual that you have a country that is not on the top level that has applied. Is there something? Is it a good example, for example, for African nations that they can hope? Okay, we have a shot to actually get World Championships.
Yes. So the organizer for the World Championship is not mandatory to be one of the European A, for example, because in Europe, we have A, B, and C competition. In the other area, continent, we only have the continental championship, or the African, Asian Pacific, and the Asia Pacific and African championships. But every country can apply. The choice is made by the one that is offering the best solution for the competition. In this case, we had a host. It was China, but China has to withdraw because of COVID restrictions. So when they withdraw, we had also a short time. And Portugal made an offer that was really good, and you can see that it was working well.
Yeah, and continuing on the Portuguese theme, we have Luis Cestas, who is the Euro representative in IBSA Goalball. What do you think he can bring to IBSA Goalball that Goalball can benefit from?
I think that Luis can try to how do you say to involve more European countries that are presently not playing goalball or not playing goalball at international level. Okay, and so Luis is very involved with the club teams, and for this reason, he knows most of the countries that are playing goalball, and so he will try, and he's trying to make them to grow and to compete internationally.
Yes, thank you for that. And during these World Championships, you mentioned that we have had a live broadcast on the YouTube channels, and this is the first time that they are bringing in hand-picked commentators for the games. Have you had a chance to look at some of the games through the live streams, and what are your thoughts about the live streams so far?
Yes, I had a chance to look, not really to listen to the commentators, because I was in one venue looking the streaming on the other venue, so in the quiet way, and the live streaming was really great. With taking many points, and also with the replay of some throws, some goals. It was really amazing for me. I will also try to review some games and listen also how was all the comment about the games.
Do you think it's a standard that can be demanded by nations that are on the top level? If they're going to have like World Championships, it is the second biggest competition for a global player to participate in. Do you think that there has to be a minimum level of broadcast like we've had here in during these World Games?
For IBSA World Games, you mean?
No, I mean for the World Championships, the next one, which is in 4 years. Do you think that there should be a minimum requirement on what kind of level it should be on the broadcast?
Yes, there should be a minimum level. There should be a broadcast. There should be the live streaming and equal for each one of the court that we have. We have 2 courts that should be equal, the same, and also the quality should be good. This is one of the requirements we have when we try to find the host for the competition.
Okay, thank you. We have been watching a lot of games now, over 130 games so far, and we don't have that many more to see. What are your thoughts of the World Championships here in Portugal after so long here? What do you think about the games so far?
In the games, in the total games we saw?
Yeah, well, also the entire World Championships, the organization and stuff. What are your thoughts about it, and how is there anything that you think that we can do better?
Oh, well, there is always something that can be better, but the organization was great. It is a big competition. The host here, Portugal, is a good host. They also hosted our European B, and it was kind of test for them, and they improved what was needed to improve. you can always find something that is slightly not as you wish it is. But honestly, if I have to choose, I can choose again to make a competition here.
That's a very good grade for to give a host that you would be here again. And when it comes to the actual games, the plays between the teams, what are your opinions about that so far?
Oh, about the games, I'm really surprised about some teams that I saw in the past, and they grow a lot, and I'm very happy about that, because I like to see new teams grow and change, the shape of what it used to be the World Championship around the world. And now we have many, many new teams growing up, and that we never saw before.
Yeah, and you know I like numbers. I love statistics, and we have had over 35 mercy games throughout these championships. And why do you think that is that there's so many mercy games? And what is your idea that we can do to have more even games between the teams?
Well, my idea about this, I know that we had many mercy games, and my opinion is that it happened because we have many new teams on the this kind of international competition, and for these teams, it was the very first time to compete at this level, and for most of the other teams, it was not the first time they were used, and so this make them more experienced team. So it's easy that this happened with this team that are coming out now.
But do you think, as a chairman for IBSA Goalball, that perhaps you should look at the qualification criteria for the World Championship so that we have more teams on a higher level, so that we do not have more than 35 mercies?
Well, it's not easy to reach what you are thinking about. We have a regional championship, and to this competition, to the world, they come the best of that area. I think that they will be really much better when they will get used to compete with all the teams overseas. So this is my opinion.
But do you think it's an idea to look at the different regions, because you have, like, for example, Europe, where you have 3 divisions, A and B is really strong, and C is a little weaker. So you have basically 17, 18 really strong European teams, which a lot of them would have done very good here, but don't have the chance because, for example, Europe has just a few spots. And do you think that there's something we can do to make the second biggest championships we have in goalball even tougher?
Well, yes, this is one of the ideas that we are looking at, especially in some areas like Asia. There are big countries with many teams competing, and they are dividing, for example, in sub-regions. We were thinking about something to some kind of qualification in sub-region, and then the best teams of this sub-region can then attend to the regional championship. But we just started with this idea. We are working on it. For Asia, it can be the same for Africa, even if it is more difficult. They don't have so many teams competing internationally in Africa, for example. There are global teams around the countries in Africa. Most of them, they compete only locally.
Yeah. Okay, great. Thank you. And of course, I have saved the toughest question for last, and that is, we used to have 10 teams in Paralympics. Now we only have 8. is there, first of all, why is that we went from 10 teams to 8? And second of all, what can we do to protect goalball, to keep goalball in Paralympics so that they don't remove us or take it down to even less teams?
Uh, well, this is a good question. I also want to know the answer. It was a IPC decision, probably to match some other sports that have 8 teams competing, but it's only my opinion. I don't know the real reason. It can be because they have a fixed number of athletes and they want to include some other sports, so they have to reduce something. So the same they did with judo, for example. They reduced the number of global teams to 8. It matched the football, I think. What can we do? I don't think there is that much we can do. We only have to protect at least the 8 team. Try to increase, of course, and fight for that. But finally, Paralympic Games are IPC games, not IBSA, and we don't have many chance to take the decision.
One of the criteria to be a Paralympic sport is that it needs to be worldwide. And we have regions like Africa that is not nearly as strong, for example, as Europe and those countries. And that could have been a contribution factor to decreasing the teams in Paralympics. And do you think that there's something we can do even more to strengthen the global presence in Africa?
Yes, I think there is something we can do, and we started to do. We have a new Africa representative, and he came here to watch the biggest IBSA competition and to bring this to Africa. And he's also working with many new countries to make them to start playing internationally.
Okay, folks, that's all for us today. So I want to thank you, Aurora Zanolin, very much for your time. And I want to thank you all for listening to the podcast. And goodbye. Thank you.
Thank you to you.